My name is Amy Clausen, and I'm the missions director at Bethel's Rock Church in Minnesota. Today, we have the privilege of sitting down with Dan West, who serves in Portugal. Dan, thanks so much for being with us today.
Yeah, well, it's good to be here with you. Very good to be with you.
And can you just get us started with telling us a little bit about yourself and your ministry?
Okay, well, we are currently in Portugal and in Lisbon. Been here 7 years. And personally, I'm from a neighboring state just south of Minnesota. I'm from Iowa. I'm an Iowa farm boy. Grew up on the farm. My parents became snowbirds, moved to Arizona. That's where I met my wife, was in high school. And so she was she's a missionary kid. Her parents were missionaries in Thailand.
Okay.
And after a year in Bible school, we went to Bible school after we graduated from high school, and we married. And I was 20, she was 18, and we did SAGU down in Texas. Yeah. And okay, my wife corrects me. She says she was 19. Okay. What you here? Okay.
Hi.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so this is my wife, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
And so we attended SAGU, and then I went on and got my master's at AGTS. And as far as our personal life, we weren't able to have children, and so we adopted in 1998.
Okay.
And her name is Charity, and she grew up in Spain, and now she lives in St. Paul area.
Okay.
Woodbury.
Okay.
And so she's there, and she attended NCU for a couple of years, and now she's assistant manager at one of the Skechers store there in Woodbury.
Okay.
And so, but we've been missionaries 37 years.
Wow.
And so 30 of those years we spent in Spain.
Okay.
And so after spending a year in language school in Costa Rica learning Spanish, we finally made it over to Spain. And so you can just kind of correct me along the way. Okay. Okay. But and so I just thought I would just explain a little bit what we've done in the time we were in Spain.
Absolutely.
While we were in Spain, when we first arrived there, we were in the northwest corner of Spain in an area called Galicia. The people there spoke Gallego. And so after spending a year learning Spanish, we went to an area where we had to kind of start learning another language. And so, but we were there and began the church in our home. And the Lord blessed there. And we worked with drug addicts there when we were planning the church. And that was the best way for us to get to know the people, and plant the church. We worked with drug addicts. In the 3 years that we were there, we sent 50 drug addicts to rehab centers that were Christian in Spain. And so we sent them there, and then we reached out to their families. And God was so good to us there. And we were able to turn that church over, left it in the hands of a national pastor. And that was our first term. Then our second term and beyond. The next 10 years after that, we were directors of the Bible school.
Okay.
And so we were Bible school. I was the Bible school president. My wife, she was the academic dean.
Okay.
And so I guess probably the biggest thing that happened while we were at the Bible school is we relocated the Bible school from central Spain down to southern Spain, Andalusia. And we bought a hotel, made it into a Bible school. And while we were there, we were able to turn the property and the leadership over to the national church.
Yeah.
and that now since we've left, the Bible school has exploded. I mean, it has really, God just really has done some wonderful things at the Bible school. And I'll talk, go ahead.
No, because the directors were Spaniards.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've turned it over now. But it has gone through 2 more renovations since we renovated it, and the Spanish government now it's recognized by the Spanish government, and so the students can even receive scholarships from the Spanish government there.
Wow.
And it's just been wonderful to see what God has done at the Spanish Bible school. And so the last 15 years we were in Spain, we worked in a ministry called On the Red Box. And you may have heard about On the Red Box a little bit. It's and so we worked with missionary evangelist Jacob Bach. He was the director. I was the second in command, I guess. Co-founder. And but just doing evangelism on the street, doing a lot of evangelism training, working in the prayer house, and there were just a lot of miraculous things that happened there that I'll share a little bit later on in this interview. But it was just wonderful what God did there. And we raised up a ministry there where we had a ministry team of 30 street evangelists. That would go out continuously all during the week and evangelize, and it was wonderful. And so while we were there, we began to raise up other Red Box teams because people began to come in and ask if we could go and train them. So we began doing that across other cities in Spain, in Europe, Germany, Sweden, other countries, and that's when we began to come over to Portugal. And so we came to Portugal, and we
several times a year.
For several years. It was several times a year, and began. We saw that there was a need in Portugal and Lisbon, especially, for an international church, and and that's how we come here to Portugal. So the last 7 years we've been here in Lisbon, Portugal, and we arrived here in October of 2018, and the name of the church is called Life Church. And that's an acrostic. It stands for Lisbon International Fellowship Eastside.
Nice.
And so we met in our living room
for 4 years.
And that was during the pandemic.
Sure.
And so we had to go through a couple shutdowns, just like everybody around the world did. And so
so we started the church several times because of that, because people would go back to their home countries and not return to Portugal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we started over again 3 times.
Persistence.
But finally, I think we got it going. So April of 2022, we began to rent from another church. And so on our 5th anniversary of Life Church, we celebrated by installing new pastors of Life Church over to Ronnie and Rhonda Rice, and they're another missionary couple with AGWM, and then we became the associate pastors. And now this year in 2025 in May, they went back for an 18-month itineration, and so now we are the pastors again. So that's where we are. And so that's kind of what we've done and where we are. And
absolutely.
So what we've been.
Well, if I can kind of go back to kind of the beginning of the church that you're at now, you mentioned that you noticed that there was a need for an international church. Can you speak more to what you mean by that? What were you seeing? What were you hearing? What was the Lord telling you? What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to international churches, I'm talking about an English-speaking church.
Mm-hmm.
And across Europe in the last, 15 years probably, or 20?
Or more, yeah.
Yeah, probably the last 20 years, the Lord has raised up a lot of what I would call international churches across Europe. Now there's around 80 international churches across Europe, and in all the major cities: Madrid, Barcelona, Paris, Rome,
et cetera.
et cetera. But there wasn't anything in Lisbon. So we felt like there was a need.
Yeah.
Or in all of Portugal.
Yeah. And so we came over, and in one time we just came over just to kind of spy out the land and just see what it was like on this side of Lisbon.
Yeah.
And we heard a lot of English, and we saw people that were speaking English, and we said, we're going to reach these people. And after we've come, we've seen that the Lord is really, the English-speaking world has also come here in just the last 10 years. Our congregation is made up of a lot of different international people. So,
Well, a lot of the immigrants, English may not be their first language, but they don't know Portuguese, and so they want to congregate where there is a common language.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
you talked a little bit about the difficulties of church planting, but church planting at any time in any location, I think, has its challenges, but trying to start a church during the pandemic is another level for sure. And so you mentioned, having to kind of restart 3 times. Can you tell us a little bit more about that process?
Well, we started in our home, and we had gone to another town, and we had done a missions convention.
Okay.
And we weren't even thinking of starting the church. We were doing a lot of praying, a lot of studying. We were going to try to get a team together, and
the pre-launch
stuff for a church. And so while we were in this missions conference in another town, we just said, please pray for us, because we're going to be starting an international church, an English-speaking church in Lisbon. And about 3 months later, somebody moved from that town to Lisbon and contacted us and said, well, we want to come to your international church. We weren't even having services. We weren't doing anything. And so we said, well, come on over to the house, and we'll start having just on Sundays, we'll start meeting together. So we started off with one girl from Hyderabad, India. And so her name was Sonia. And so she came, and we began just meeting with her. And we did that for several months. And then around the end of 2019, there just a lot of people started showing up. And that was I think a lot of it had to do with, we got a website up.
Okay.
And so people were looking for a church. And so they started looking through the website, and a website was very key to starting in the church. And because people were looking. And
the challenge of meeting in our home, though, was that we could not publish an address. We are in a high-rise apartment building, where it's a controlled entrance, and because of our neighbors, we could not publish our address as public. And so people had to send a WhatsApp message or email us saying they were interested. What's the address?
Yeah.
And I know that was a deterrent as well.
For sure.
Challenging.
Yeah. But that's kind of the way it started.
Yeah.
And but it's been, and then we got up to about 15. Well, I think we had 16 or 17 people coming, and then that was our biggest number. That's what the week that the pandemic hit.
Of course.
And so we had to close everything down, and then we started doing everything on Zoom, of course, and then we did, and so we had two big shutdowns. We had a shutdown in 19 that lasted 4 months.
In 2020.
In
2021.
Yeah, 2020 and then 2021. Both of them lasted between 3 and 4 months. And so just doing a lot of this, just up and down. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So that was probably our biggest challenge. And during that time, it just took a lot of grit. I think we said, this has got to come to an end,
Yeah.
And so we just stayed, and we said, we're going to persevere until the church gets planted.
Yeah.
And that's how we had to do it. So,
Yep.
But we were thankful for the churches that supported us during that time, and the people we reached out to, and some of those same people are still in our congregation to this day. So they moved from the home to the new facility where we're meeting. So
yeah, that's great. Well, you've kind of told us about some different seasons in your ministry. So feel free to share about any of those seasons. But you mentioned earlier about having some stories that you wanted to share with us, in particular referring to the On the Red Box, the time that you were working with that. So take it away.
Yeah. Well, I was during that time that we were at the Bible school before Red Box. I kind of want to go there just a moment, because we had, during that 10-year period when we moved the Bible school and renovated it, the Lord just really gave us a mighty visitation.
Yeah.
It was a revival among the Bible school students. And we had gone through kind of a cleansing time 1 year of students that
they had to be dismissed.
They had to be dismissed for one reason or another. Sure. A lot of it had to do with sin issues. And so, but the following year, that was in 99, wasn't it, Joy? 2000. Like yeah. And the Lord just visited us mightily. And students began I can't really describe it any way other than it was a supernatural hunger for God that He put in the lives of the students, and also in the lives of the director. I mean, it was a mighty. We all changed during that time, and it was kind of during the time of the Pensacola revival, what was going on there.
Yep.
And it was mighty, and I also went there and visited the revival for a week, came back, and I said, well, if it happened there, I'm praying that God could do something great like that here. But it was a time of a lot of fasting. The students did a lot of fasting. I think all the students fasted during that time. I had students, a lot of them that fasted 20 days and 30 days. And it was it was a mighty move of God. And students praying, seeking God. You go to school, and it wasn't during that, and it lasted almost 18 months. And during that time, it was not unusual just to go by the chapel, and I still get emotional about it. It was just beautiful to see students just laying on their face, and puddles of tears, just crying out before God. And it was mighty. And during that time, there was no complaining about food in the cafeteria.
They saved a lot of money on the grocery bill because they were fasting.
But it was a mighty move of God.
Yeah.
And so when I look back on my time in Spain, that is automatically one of the highlights. And today, a lot of those students are evangelists. Some of them are missionaries.
Wow.
Some of them are lead pastors. Some of them are in leadership within the Assemblies of God now of Spain. And so it's just been it was a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And so the Lord allowed us to turn the directorship, the property, because before that it had all been in the hands of the missionaries. And so we were able to turn that all over to the national church.
That's great.
And that is really, one of the objectives of the missionaries, to put things in the hands of the nationals. And God has just blessed it so much. And we left there and began the ministry of On the Red Box
with
Jacob Bach. And it was a mighty time. And Jacob also had been involved in the Pensacola revival, and so we had kind of the same DNA.
Yeah. And
just we had a prayer house, spending a lot of time into prayer. And I guess probably seeing people come to know Jesus from the street. We bring them up, and we have our prayer house. We had two centers there. The first one, we had a coffee house that would convert to a prayer house, and it was just wonderful, beautiful to see.
Yeah.
But seeing people come to know Jesus off the street, inviting them up, praying with them, and
and some amazing testimonies. We don't have time to get into, but
it was just wonderful. A couple that come to mind is, people were on their way to commit suicide.
Oh my goodness.
And they heard the gospel right there, and and they came up and were just miraculously saved.
Wow.
And it was just, we had a man from Ecuador who had been a fighter, and
boxer fighter.
Yeah, his name was Marino, and he did a lot of bare knuckle fighting, and he was a strong man, and he'd killed men in the ring. Matter of fact, I mean, he was just a brutal man. He was a big, wide, big fist, and he had come to Spain, and while he was in Spain, he found out he had cancer. His wife had left him. He was very immoral, and he got involved in all kinds of different kinds of sin that I don't want to go into. But there on the streets of Madrid, he just got wonderfully saved, just wonderfully saved. And I remember him just laying out on the floor, and he'd be praying, saying, God, I've been such a sinner, such a sinner, forgive me. And he began just to weep about his past life. And he said, God, my marriage is destroyed, my family is gone, and what can you do to heal? I saw that man just broken. God healed him, miraculously healed him. I saw him come back to know Jesus, and I saw he finally went back to Ecuador with the ministry of doing open air preaching, and God gave back his wife, his family, his parents. The whole family came to know Jesus through this man.
And his
His son. The reason I know all this is because his son made a special trip to come over to Spain and saw us ministering in the street. And he said, I just wanted to come back to the place where my dad came to know Jesus. Wow. And he said he talked so much about this place. Yeah. And it was just, he wrote a book about his life after that. It was wonderful. And so that was just one of the many testimonies, but it was it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I think one of the most beautiful things that I could say about the ministry of On the Red Box was the amount of people that received training to evangelize. And then they became evangelists and they became missionaries. Yeah. So from that ministry, we have people who have become missionaries in Turkey especially. There's a big missionary team in Turkey. Gambia. Also Africa. In Africa, Gambia, Africa. Also in Latin America, where my right there, I just gave that, and he's gone back there. Yeah. And now he's pastoring a church. And also in Latin America, several areas in Mexico. So it's just been beautiful to see how God just raised up ministers out of that ministry, and people's lives were so broken. I mean, they were so broken, and it just looked like there was no hope. And out of that, God brought about many miracles. Yeah, and it was just beautiful to see. Yeah. Sounds like it. Yeah.
Can you kind of summarize for us what is On the Red Box, or what was On the Red Box Ministries? Like, what was the vision for it? I mean, it sounds like it was a lot of kind of going out, to public spaces and praying for people and evangelizing and possibly sharing testimonies, but kind of what was that vision? What set that apart from kind of what had already maybe been going on in the area?
Yeah, well, working together with Jacob was a missionary evangelist, and so he had a tremendous vision. He's a visionary, and so I was kind of the one that helped him keep his feet on the ground, I would say, because he had big vision, but he had a wonderful team working around him, and the ministry that started off by just going out and evangelizing. So many people came and got saved on the street. Came from different churches in Madrid, wanted to learn how to evangelize. Yeah. And so we started a school of evangelism. Okay. It started off with just, matter of fact, they still to this day, the first Saturday of every month, they have a school of evangelism. And but that has grown into a full-fledged school where now it's you can get online training. Matter of fact, anybody that's watching this, if you want training to do evangelism, it's one of the best schools in all of Europe. You just go to ontheredbox.com and push the more button, and then go down and touch English, and everything's in English there too, in English and Spanish both. And but a lot of their materials and books are in several different languages. And so it has made an impact on Europe and on Spain especially. And they just got done this last 2 years. They went around and visited all 52 provinces of Spain, and it's just been wonderful. Many people have come to know Jesus just in the last 2 years since we've been over here in Portugal. But we still do On the Red Box evangelism here. We go out and we have a red box here in the center of Lisbon, and we go out every Saturday and do a lot of. And I'm still Matter of fact, in July, we had a school of evangelism, and we probably had 25 students come, and just wanting to know how to win souls, how to talk to people one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it's more than just, we get up on top of a red box, but it's more than just a method. It's the message.
Yeah.
And so we talk a lot about using, every sermon, every evangelistic message, every testimony, every tract that's written is based on 4 columns. We call it 4 columns of an evangelistic message, which is using the law, which is the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
And so that explains what sin is. And then we talk about eternity. And then we talk about the cross. And there's 7 doctrines that come out of the cross. There's regeneration, reconciliation, justification, sanctification, all those that come out of the cross. And then the invitation is the 4th column.
Yeah.
And so it's been a powerful way to train people to evangelize.
Absolutely.
And so it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories you could share with us about like the people that you have trained to evangelize and kind of how even just that process, or like their first experience, being the one to evangelize? Like, can you share any stories about that side of it?
Yeah. Well, sometimes people come and they think they're Christian. And so we had that happen several times in our schools of evangelism. We'd be teaching, and we'd be talking about, breaking the law, or being in sin, and how and just explaining what eternity was. And in eternity, you have to talk about, death, judgment, heaven and hell.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the cross, of course, and with the invitation. And a lot of times people say, well, I've never made a decision to follow Christ. I go to a Christian church, but I've never made that decision. So right there in the school of evangelism, we would pray with people. And we had a young lady, and she was from Romania and grown up Catholic. And she says, she thought she was a Christian. And she went through this whole process of saying, I want to become a Christian. And she said, I want to do, I want to accept Christ. Then she became an evangelist on the street. And just mighty what God did to her. And then she felt called to go become a missionary. I said, well, where are you going to go? And she said, well, I feel like the Lord's calling me to Gambia. And I had never even heard of Gambia. And so I had to look it up on the map. And she went there and became a missionary, and a single missionary. Yeah. And she ended up marrying a pastor's son. Okay. And I call him my salt and pepper team, because they were different colors. But they have done just a wonderful ministry in Gambia, and Jesus has just raised up. They've been there, and they still, they've did a school for children, raised up a school for children. Yeah. And even in the area there's a lot of Muslims in that area, and they've been able to minister there to those people. We had another young man named Mauricio, and he was so shy. I remember the first time he came to on the Red Box, the ministry center that we had. Yeah, he was out in the hall, and I said, well, come on in, and he came in, and we talked to him. He became a Christian, just radically so. Wow. And when he got saved, he said, I got saved with the ministry of On the Red Box. And he said, I want to get baptized on the street as well. Okay. And so it just so happened we had a team from the United States at that time. And so we got a kiddie pool, put it down on the street, and we had these the team just taking water.
Bringing water down from the fourth floor.
From the fourth floor, and they filled up this kiddie pool with water, and we baptized him on the street.
Wow!
And we said, this is going to be the first time in history that anybody has been baptized in the Puerto del Sol in Madrid, and of course that really brought a lot of people, big crowd. We had a crowd of around probably, it was at least 250 people on the street that night, and it was crazy. And he gave his testimony that night, and that night, through giving his testimony on the street, Jacob's daughter came over and said, there's somebody crying, and I think you need to go talk to him. And so I went over, and he was on his face, puddle of tears, in the sidewalk, on the plaza. And he was crying there. And I got down next to him, and I just said, hey, how you doing? And he said, all he could say is, I know I'm going to hell. I know I'm going to hell. I know I need to get my heart right with God. And he was a young man from Romania. And he got radically saved during the next few days after that. And he had been living in an adulterous affair, and broke that off, and just got radically saved. And he went into ministry as well, and got training, and he's just, it's been wonderful. But Mauricio, going back to Mauricio, the guy that got baptized, he became a missionary to the country of Turkey, and so he married an American girl that had come over on an MA assignment, and was working there in our ministry center. They got married, and they've raised up a wonderful team in Turkey, and still to this day that is still going on in Turkey, and so it's just been wonderful to see. When you see lives change, you're never the same. You're never the same.
And even here in Lisbon, you've been mentoring a couple people on the street to where when they learn how to talk one-on-one with somebody on the street, and the first time they put it into practice, and they come and say, it worked. They could see the conviction come over the person, and just to see their joy in, wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah. And so that's really what we've been doing here. I raised up the team, but I've been able to turn it over to another young man named Paulo, and he's from Brazil, and he lives here. He's a businessman, but he goes out on the street and evangelizes, and he's an evangelist, and so he has taken over the team. I'm still part of the team, but he's the leader now. And
it's been beneficial because Dan now can mentor these people one-on-one without having the leadership responsibility.
And so it's been very good. And so we have two now that are one from Brazil, but he is part of our congregation, and then another person who is part of our congregation is Aaron, and he's from India. And so they have become very much part of our volunteer team from our church, and they've been very much involved in doing evangelism on the street, just doing wonderful jobs. They're taking their first steps. They're preaching now, testifying, and talking a lot to people one-on-one on the street. And so it's been good. It's been very good. So
you mentioned that one of the things that you teach people when they're in that training process were the 4 pillars. But then you also kind of mentioned, this people going out and kind of having the one-on-one conversations for the first time. And so what are the practical things that I don't know, really make the difference of people being able to, obviously the Holy Spirit, none of it's going to be able to happen without the Holy Spirit, but what are those practical things that really seem to kind of help people be able to do that, to, go up to somebody and tell them about Jesus?
Yeah. Well, we have we do have a school of evangelism, and I teach people, if they know where they're going to go in the conversation, that's the main thing,
Yeah.
And so we teach people 9 basic questions.
Okay.
And it just starts off with, and we pass out a lot of tracts on the street. We have postcard tracts, kind of like these. This is a picture of one of the bridges in town,
Okay.
and just different things, but they're on the back is in Portuguese and English. They're bilingual tracts, and so we give out hundreds of these every weekend. And in Madrid, they have given out millions of these. I mean, they've given out. They've given out pallets of these tracts to people on the street, and so, but we give out a tract, but a lot of the times the people we talk to are people who have listened to an illustrated message.
Okay.
And so we try to do an illustrated message that goes along with the story, and then we incorporate the gospel into that using the 4 pillars.
Okay.
And so then when we get done with that, we say, hey, we'd like to give you some free literature, and we have a free gospel. We have a free gospel, or a chick tract or something like that. We give to people on the street as a gift.
Sure. And
then what we'll do is we start in with asking those 9 questions. And so the people, they know where they're going to go in the conversation when they have that training.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it starts off by, hey, can I ask your opinion? And just about everybody wants to give their opinion.
Right.
And it really doesn't matter what their answer is. It just opens up the conversation.
Yeah. And so we, we just say, the first question we ask, the second question is, do you believe that many or few people are going to go to heaven? And so, especially if they've just got done hearing the gospel presented from the red box, you can kind of know where you're coming from.
Sure.
And so, most people think that they're, and then the third question is, do you think you're going to be one of the good, or you or the many, And then we just there we go into sharing the gospel. And so we try to prepare people. We try to put tools in their hand that they can use. And that includes also when they get up and preach the gospel. We try to have tools in their hand that they can use to preach the gospel with. So
that's good.
So
sounds like people.
So I think tools, having a tool in your hand, and the second thing that's very important is prayer. Yeah. And that's probably one of our wins for 2025 is that we have started meeting 1 hour before going to the street. Okay. And we're praying now for an hour. Yeah. Now, it's harder to do because you have to find a place on the street to pray.
Okay. Well, it's in the parking garage.
And so we're meeting together in the parking garage.
Yeah.
And so we're praying there, and it's not like being in Madrid where you have a prayer house. Okay. You just go right down on the street. Yeah. But it's been good. Yeah. And so between having people prepared and prayer, those are the two, I think.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. So you've
So-
been a big part of this type of ministry in Spain and now Portugal. What are the differences that you have noticed? I mean, I know those countries are very close and there are similarities, but I'm sure people who have lived there definitely notice the differences. And so, what are the things culturally or in ministry that maybe do kind of translate, so to speak, between both? And what are the things that, you've noticed maybe works one place and doesn't work in another place, or, things that, you've had to adapt or change?
Well, my wife says it best.
Yeah, the only thing Spain and Portugal have in common is the border.
Okay.
But at the same time,
Because it's a different language, different
Yeah.
culture,
Mhm.
everything's different.
everything's
Mhm.
different.
The people are different.
Mm,
But when it comes to evangelism or even trying to do ministry, every city is different.
sure.
Yeah.
Because every city has a different feel, has
Yep.
a different spirit over it.
Mhm.
It has a different dynamic. And so,
Mhm.
yes, Madrid and Lisbon are very different.
Very different.
But Madrid and Barcelona are very
Sure.
different.
Mhm.
And
And so it's, you have to kind of find, the key, but when it comes to the cultures between Spain and Portugal are so different, especially working among the nationals.
Sure.
The national church is different.
Yeah.
The church in Portugal is twice as old, within the Assemblies of God church I'm talking about, is twice as old as the Assemblies of God in Spain.
Okay.
And so they've celebrated their 100th anniversary here, and they're just celebrated their 55th, I think, or 56th anniversary over in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a difference there.
Mhm.
And so the church here is a whole lot more traditional. National church is.
Yeah.
And the church in Spain is more progressive and in a good way. Yeah. And they're doing a whole lot more evangelism on the street, doing things like that. And so it's been that part has been a challenge, just kind of getting used to, and the vocabulary even between the two, the church, national church here and the national church there is a lot different.
Okay.
and mobilizing people.
Yeah, mobilizing people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the cultures are different, the languages are different, the food is very different. The Portuguese will tell you that they have some of the best food in the world.
And they do.
And they do. And they do. It's really good food here in Portugal. And so they have very good food here. And, but the way they treat you is a lot different.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Spain has gone through some things. I noticed one of the questions I was answering was, has anything happened in the culture that changed the culture? And one of the things that happened in Spain that really changed the culture was the bombing in 2004.
Okay.
And because when that happened, it actually changed the government. The government was conservative.
Okay.
And it voted in a liberal government.
Yeah.
And the liberal government, the two things that they said that they were going to do is the first thing was they were going to take the troops out of Iraq. They were also going to legalize gay marriage.
Okay.
And so when that came in, they took the troops out of Iraq, and that was what, and that's another story. But the thing that happened was they legalized gay marriage, and so.
That was one of the precedent setters for all of Europe.
Yeah, and it just really is starting in Madrid, going out from here. It really, really changed the culture.
Yeah.
And so, there's the gay marriage thing really changed downtown Madrid. It changed.
No, but you had lots of opportunities to minister to those people as well.
Yeah. and we had people on our team that had gotten saved out of that. And so, matter of fact, just last week I heard a man that works in that area of town leading two young men to Jesus Christ in the Unorthodox ministry. And so it's
also an opportunity.
Yeah, you have to take your wins, when you find them. So
yeah. Can you tell us some more, like, what are some of those specifics? You said, very different cultures. And so what is the culture like in Portugal? Can you tell us a little bit just about the country, about the people?
The people and everything is in general. The people in general, I think, are more humble, more polite here.
Yeah.
They, of course, they have different histories that bring that about.
Sure.
Yeah.
There are fewer. They have different kind of immigration here than they do in Spain. Where in Spain you're going to have a lot more Muslim influence. You're going to have a lot more Latin American influence. Here it's more Brazilian, and then the African-speaking, Portuguese-speaking countries in Africa.
Yeah.
So even with the immigration, things look differently.
Yeah. In our congregation, we have Brazilian in our congregation, and we're not a big congregation, but we have Brazilian in our congregation. We have people from
Africa.
From Brazil. We have Brazilians. We have people from Holland. We've had people from England, from Nigeria, Angola. Just last weekend, we had people from Gabon and Rwanda in our congregation. But we have a lot of people from Pakistan and India in our congregation too.
Yeah.
But we've had people from China and Japan and Israel. And that I would think. Just let me give you a little story about culture. Culture. We had. I remember there was a man who came from Pakistan, and he was a minister, and he came over, and he wanted to start a church, and so I was trying to help him out, and so I'd go and pick him up and bring him to church and stuff.
He'd come with his collar.
Yeah.
Collar.
Yeah, and so. I always kind of felt underdressed around him, but he come and so I asked him his testimony one day, and he said, when I got saved, he said, God delivered me from cigarettes, He delivered me from alcohol, and He delivered me from eating pork, and he was just telling me that, And it just so happened at the very same time I was discipling a young man from Israel.
Yeah.
And he had gotten saved, and he'd been baptized in the Mediterranean over there. And I was discipling him, and he said, I remember one of the times in his discipleship, he said, I've just been set free from so much sin and drugs and all this kind of stuff. And he said, and he set me free from all the legalism. He said, I can eat pork now. And so I had these two people. I knew these two people. One said I was delivered from eating pork, and the other one says, I'm set free, so now I can eat pork. So, when you have these conflicts come, and so sometimes you have to walk kind of the high wire a little bit, a fine line.
Well, and in our church meals, we don't take pork because we don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of that way, but
non-issues can become an issue, and
yeah, and I had somebody ask me just this last week if I drank wine, and I said, well, I don't drink wine, and they say, well, what about in communion? Have you ever drank wine in communion? And I says, well, I have in Spain, because in Spain give communion with wine.
Yeah.
And but here in this church we just do it with with grape juice. But it's but we try not to make an issue out of all those kind of things.
Sure.
We just but those are just some cultural things you have to you deal with along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of changing gears a little bit. I mean, you obviously work with a lot of people who, I don't know, maybe they know that they, want to become missionaries or want to become pastors, or maybe they just are wanting to learn how to evangelize. I don't know kind of what the makeup of people that are, doing training with On the Red Box and that kind of thing, what their objective is per se. But I can tell that you have had a lot of experience with people with kind of all different kinds of callings or passions. And so what advice would you give to somebody who is interested in missions or interested in ministry? Like they just are curious about it or feel some kind of pull towards it, but they're not sure if they're called, and they're maybe kind of wrestling between, is this something that I should lean into? What would you say to them?
Yeah. Well, I would say begin asking God about it. Put incorporate it into your prayer time. If there's a stirring. Yeah. If there's a stirring there, that might mean God's wanting you to do something involved in missions. You can either give for missions, or you can pray for missions, or you can go for missions. And so there's three things you can do. But if you feel like God's stirring that in you, well, you need to ask and begin preparing yourself. Preparing yourself. I read biographies on missionaries. And start by doing missions right where you are. If you feel a burden for people, well, start evangelizing right where you are. And
I might even say, and it's kind of radical, but I imagine there in the cities, there are churches that are of a different culture. Maybe might be an African church somewhere, or even a Spanish church. And a good way to see if you're actually called or just in love with the idea would be to experience one of their churches where you can go in, you're clueless on the language, you're clueless on the culture, which happens when you go to another country. And to kind of dive in and have an experience.
And just go to the end. When the Lord spoke to us about becoming missionaries, one of the first things, I was teaching in a Bible school down in Southern Arizona Bible College, and I was there, and
2 miles from Mexico.
And so I went into Mexico and I started attending a Spanish church, and I didn't know any Spanish back then. And so just to kind of see what it was like, so and so I think purposely putting yourself in other cultures that are in your area. I know that and start being friends with them. Take them out for coffee. Say meet somebody from Eritrea or from another country, that's in the area of the Twin Cities there, and say, just tell me about your culture, and then make a friendship, and then start witnessing to them, and there's a lot of Muslims all around the world now, and they need to hear about Jesus. They need to hear the gospel. And of course, in that culture, a lot of times you have to win them to yourself before you win them to Jesus. You need to make those relationships. And so, and I would say that would be the first step, find that.
Being a missionary where they are.
Being a missionary right there. And if you need training, well, go go to ontheredbox.com
Absolutely.
and get some training there on how to evangelize, what to say.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
so, and then if they do feel like they're called, the next step would be to go to wideopenmissions.org, and that is an excellent area, and you can step out of the United States, go on a short missions trip, like MAPS or a missions team, or go with a group in the beginning, and and see how it is, and then continue praying, and God will show you. God will show you. He is calling a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
This is the time. We have a lot of open doors right now.
Yeah.
And so we need to take advantage of those.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for just taking the time to sit down with us and tell us your story, and just a snapshot of all of the different stories that you've been able to hear or be a part of or be witness to over all of your years of missions and ministry. And we just so appreciate being able to partner with you guys and kind of follow along through newsletters and whatever else. And so, we just really, really enjoy the partnership that we have with you guys, and just are grateful.
Well, continue to pray for Life Church.
Yeah.
We're trying to relocate the congregation right now. So pray that the Lord will help us in that, that we'll be able to find another location, and just pray with us about that.
Yeah.
And we so appreciate your partnership with us. Thank you so much.
We couldn't do what we do without your help. So thank you.